baby. Another episode of Outside Shots with Eddie Johnson, brought to you by the fine folks over at OG's, the best edible in the game. Please make sure you follow them on social media. EJ's out in Dallas. Dallas ain't looking too hot right now. 153 teams have tried. 153 have failed. Will the Dallas Mavericks be the only team in NBA history to come back from a 3-0 deficit? What say you there, EJ?
No. It's over, man.
Yeah.
It's more so over because, one, I don't think Luka is healthy, but I think partly that's his fault. I think he's overweight. I think he's out of shape, which is amazing to think that at the end of the season that a guy would get out of shape, right? You would think with all that running that they would be in shape, but he looks fatigued. Again, I think he looks like he's put on weight during the season, and they're just working him over on the defensive end. And last night, Kyrie finally got it going, and yet he didn't defer. And for the life of me, I just don't know why he didn't defer at the end of the game. They made that run. I thought Boston was right to blow it. And, then he fouls out. So it's over. Like, I would like to think they have a fighting chance, but I pretty much believe that the Celtics will be celebrating on Friday.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that. Boston has controlled just about every aspect of the game from beginning to end. When they blew that lead, though, last night, I really did think, oh, man, they look like they're on the ropes. They couldn't get it together. They kept chucking up threes that weren't going in. They were giving the Mavs every opportunity to win that game. But at the end of the day, Jaylen Brown continues to impress. He has been phenomenal in this series. Has really been the main constant at a high level for the Celtics throughout this finals. You've got to assume that if they win Friday, unless, he has some crazy stinker and Jason Tatum just goes crazy off, you got to think that he's going to end up being the finals MVP at this point. Jason Tatum is caught a little bit of flack just because of his scoring output, but I think he's affected the game in other areas. But Jaylen Brown has been playing at a level that I don't think we've seen for this consistent in his career in the playoffs. And it's fantastic for him.
Even if he has a stinker in Game 4 and they win, he's still winning MVP.
Yeah.
Because what he did yesterday solidified it. Think about it. They melted down, 21-point lead, fourth quarter. All of a sudden, it's a 1-point game with over a minute and a half left. And Jaylen Brown was the one that hit big shot after big shot. He had 6 points at halftime. It was a 51-50 game, so it was close, despite what Tatum did in the first half.
Yeah.
It was close. And then he had 24 in the second half. He's the MVP, man. It's kind of funny how this is working out. You get the guys that want to fight for Tatum, and I love Jason Tatum. Don't get me wrong. This has nothing to do with me not liking Jason Tatum. Okay, for you Jason Tatum fans, it just has a lot with me recognizing, to me, who's the most important player on that Boston Celtic team, and that's Jaylen Brown. And people don't want to give it to him for whatever reasons. I think some people have reasons to not like Jaylen Brown, more so because he's smart as heck, he's politically involved, and people don't like him. And he's smarter than them. This dude graduated like in a couple of years at Cal Berkeley. Don't tell me he ain't smart. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think that part of him, his stoic nature, intimidates people. And yeah, I'll go there. And history says that guys like that do intimidate certain people in walks of life that don't care, that don't want them to be active because they're afraid of them. And I think it's carried over to the basketball court for him in regards to how he's viewed. And I just love the fact that despite it all, he hasn't changed. He hasn't given in. And now he's proven on the court that, in my estimation, and I've been fighting this for a while, and I love Jason Tatum and what he can do. Well, Jaylen Brown is really showing that he's their best player. And again, people are going to fight back on it, but he's going to win conference finals MVP, and more than likely he's going to win finals MVP. And so how can you push back on that if he does?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, Luka definitely doesn't look right, as you mentioned. And I think, Jaylen Brown's been fantastic. Jason Tatum's doing his thing. The whole Celtics, I mean, the Celtics can in a variety of different ways. And it's going to be hard for this is a copycat league. And so, as we go into the offseason, there's going to be teams that are going to try to figure out how to be almost like the Boston Celtics. And it's very hard to try and find guys that you're going to be able to find do what they're doing right now. They literally got 4 high caliber players, and Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps when he's healthy. And so the biggest knock on them was they could never get through, win the big thing. And now they're right there. They're on the verge. And if they win this one, they're set up with their core 4 to be able to repeat and go for at least the next couple of years with that core, even with a Jason Tatum extension, which everybody expects to have. So it's daunting for the rest of the league, but as we know, from year to year, things change so fast. You don't know what's going to happen. And with one of those instances, the Suns have added to their coaching staff. I want to talk about Mike Hopkins. Do you know much about Mike Hopkins? And if you do, what is your familiarity with Mike Hopkins coming from UW after being fired? Now going to be an assistant coach on this roster. I've heard nothing but great things about Mike Hopkins within the Pac-12 circles, that he's got great development skills. He's got great relations with players. Players love him. What have you heard on
I don't be honest. I don't know him.
Okay.
I'm not a great college guy. I'll follow it near the end of a season. I'll attach myself to the best teams and watch them, and I'll watch some of the conference tournaments and stuff like that. But I have to admit, I disconnected from college a few years ago, a number of years ago, because I wasn't happy with how it was being ran.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with guys leaving after basically 6 months on a college campus. And as I said in a tweet the other day, people didn't like it, and it went kind of viral on me when I commented on Hurley, and that I felt he was facing. He was giving in to the pressure of the moment. That's why he didn't take the Laker job, and that college basketball was watered down. And people tend to take that as a negative, saying that I'm ripping on college basketball. I'm not ripping on that. I'm just saying it's watered down. Why is it watered down? Because all your damn players are in the NBA at 18 years old. That's why it's watered down.
Yeah.
I mean, how dumb can you be to not understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't like college basketball. I'm saying that all your players leave. And if they don't leave, they're transferring. So they're transferring to another school, okay, after being on the campus for 4 or 5 months, and then they're leaving to go into the NBA. It's watered down. And you don't understand the tremendous players we have there. This draft coming up this season, most prognosticators are saying it's the worst damn NBA draft they've had in years.
Yeah.
So it's watered down. That's all. Even the guys that's leaving this year, they're saying it's still the worst college draft. So that's just my mindset with that. So I don't know who he is. I truly don't. But, again, Mike Budenholzer has shown to be a very good coach. And so obviously he's trying to make these decisions of who to bring in. Player development to me it should be extremely first and foremost on the Suns' mind. I truly believe in player development. Why? Because Eddie Johnson, when I first got into the NBA, I was under that. Frank Hamblin, Gary Fitzsimmons, Cotton Fitzsimmons' son, Cotton, all hands on with Eddie Johnson, and work with me every day, held me accountable, always on my back. Okay? I went from, first of all, 235. They said lose weight, Eddie. You're not a power forward. I lost weight. They wrote me. Okay, Eddie, you better improve. I might waive you next year if you don't. And that's a true story. Okay, went from 9 points a game to 20 points a game. All right. So improvement of a player is there if you have the right people around you. And let's hope the Suns are focusing on that right now, because that's the only way we're going to make the big three look good, is the guys around them are improving. And so I like the direction right now in regards to the assistant coaches, and let's see if that continues.
You made a couple interesting points there. Let's go back to this about Dan Hurley not taking the job at the Lakers. I don't think he necessarily succumbed to pressure. I just think that the Lakers' job is an extremely difficult one, and the nature of the NBA coaching circles make it very hard for coaches to last more than a couple years if things don't go right. And with so many things up in the air for LA in terms of, is LeBron going to opt out? Is he going to stay in? How long is he going to be around for? And just the dynamic that is in LA, you can control much more as a college basketball coach, because you are kind of the president of basketball operations for your school, as opposed to going to a team like the Lakers. And I know, like, the NBA is the NBA, and that should be like the ultimate goal for every coach. But I don't know, man. I see negatives on both sides, and I see some positives on both sides too. I don't like the college game. I don't like the constant movement. It's too much. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know why they don't limit kids to, like, maybe transferring once or twice, not unlimited transfers. It's basically become kind of an auction, if you will, going to, players go to the highest bidder. And that's just unfortunate, because, you don't get to these kids. The thing we love about these kids is that they're representing our school, and you would like to think that they bought into the school the way we bought into our schools, right? But it's not like that anymore. The world has changed. And then obviously in the professional ranks, I mean, look, man, Frank Vogel got fired after a year. We've had other coaches get fired after a year. Things don't go right. Expectations are, always going to be high in LA. And if you don't hit those expectations, you're going to be gone. Darvin Ham only lasted 2 seasons, and he's a good coach. And he found himself in Milwaukee as an assistant. So I think there's pluses and minuses to everything. I don't think it's necessarily too cut dry. Plus, Dan Hurley, listen, man, the Hurley family is by and large a very faithful family. They love the East Coast. Like, that's where they're born and bred in the East Coast. Like, him staying in Connecticut is not a big surprise to me. I never really thought that he would take the Laker job. So, those are my 2 cents.
You laid out every reason why he didn't want the pressure. That's the point. You laid out every reason for me. Thank you, Saul. Why he didn't want the pressure. I'm not saying that it wasn't a good choice from Dan Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he made a bad choice. I'm not saying he's a tremendous coach. Like, for me,
EJ, what would you have done if you were at Illinois and you won 2 straight national championships, and the Phoenix Suns came calling and said, "Hey, we want you to be the head coach of the Phoenix"? What would you have done in that scenario?
Well, the thing is, the reason why I make that statement in regards to the Lakers, because the Lakers are, they're a championship franchise, right? They're iconic, probably the richest franchise in the NBA. Okay, so I mean, in regards to worth. So that's what I meant. Like, most free agents lean toward going to LA. You don't have to recruit anybody to go to LA. They'll go because they're going to LA. So there's no pressure there. You'll be able to get the attention of players. They won just, obviously Boston, when they win this championship, they'll move one ahead of them. If you count the championships in Minneapolis, which you should, that was the Lakers franchise that moved. So that's what I meant.
Mm.
Coaching LeBron is another avenue, right? So what I'm saying is,
Some coaches might see that as a negative.
well, again, if you see that as a negative, then you don't want to win.
The average career span for head coaches under LeBron James is
That's
only
fine.
2.5 years.
That's why you want the pressure.
Oof.
To see if you can change it. See, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if he
So
gets
I'm
fired,
not
you're like,
saying-
hey, you
I am
fool, you
not-
knew that was going to happen.
So
You know what I'm
I am
saying?
not saying that for him, that I said when the tweet that I sent out, I said that he didn't want to face the pressure. I said, good for him. And I said, don't convince me or try to convince me that winning 3 titles in college is better than taking an iconic Laker job and winning 1 title. It's not. Okay? It's not. Because in my mind, college basketball is watered down. It ain't like it's a ton of freaking competition. Okay? So my point, that was my point. So I just said he didn't want to have to deal with the strain of taking that job. Of everything that you just said, they've changed coaches. They got an iconic player in LeBron. They got an all-world player in AD. Like, can I make that work? Like, everybody's saying it can't work, right? They haven't finished higher than 7th in 10 years? So can I change it? Phil Jackson did. You get me? Like, he did. He went there, lost Shaq, came back, led Kobe. Like, so that's what I meant. Like, he didn't want that. And that's good for him that he didn't. Fine. But I can call it out. Yeah. That's all. I can call it out because I know he wants to be in the NBA. I don't think he just used the Lakers as a smokescreen. I think his ego would like to think that he can coach at the highest level. I kind of think that he's kind of tired and fatigued about the NIL and players leaving, and he's got to recruit them all the time, and he can't even go into high schools anymore because the competition is really now taking somebody else's player. Getting up early, going to talk to professors to make sure these kids are going to class. Are you kidding me? I mean, getting in your car, driving, going into somebody's house, got to beg them to come to your school, okay? And then deal with the fact that they want something from it at a high level. Like, that's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
NBA coach gets up in the morning, writes out his game plan. His assistant coaches do all the damn work. He puts his suit on, shows up 2 hours before the game, and he goes out there and he coaches. Come on, man. Like, the workload is nowhere near as hard as it is in college, and the stress level, right? Especially now, kids that are free agents every damn year. In the NBA, at least you got them tied up for 2-3 years. So, all that said and done, like, and they're offering you $70 million. Now he can think that they undercut him. I say they didn't. Come on, dude. Like, you're in college. This is the NBA. It's a different level. They're gonna make you the sixth highest paid coach in the NBA. That's enough damn money. Go prove it. Because you sound like one of the players. Like, I want to get paid everything now. I haven't done anything. This is the next level.
That ain't how it works, man.
That's fine. But that's how it worked to the Lakers because they weren't gonna do it. So my point is, I liked it because, again, you gotta earn it. Damn, they're paying you to the level of the 6th highest. Come on, man. Like, it's 30 teams in the NBA. I don't want to hear that. Like, at least leave some room to prove it.
Yeah.
Why would you want to come in and be the highest paid? You know what kind of scrutiny that's going to put you under? You talking about pressure now? So if it's about the money, go for it. But if it's not about the money, right? Because obviously he gave up $20 million to go back. If it's not about the money, then okay, then don't worry about it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear anything about they lowballed him. Because I don't believe they lowballed him.
Yeah.
I think they gave him more than what they should have. Okay, but I understand the gravity of having to do it because he's in a situation at UConn that's really good. So I get it.
Yeah.
But, for me, like I said, I got a lot of pushback, and I've never had a tweet that hit 1 million. Like, I had 1 million, people look at my tweet. But, you know, I'm not into that really, truly, but I did kind of get a kick out of it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you pissed off a lot of East Coast people, man.
You know what? I pissed off a lot. It's a piece of junk or what?
That's true.
College guy up there, he's screaming and jumping up and down, rushing the court.
A dub is a dub, man. A dub is a dub. That's all that matters, right?
Get out of here, man. Get that junk, man. Nobody want to hear that. They getting on me, man. I'm just laughing at these fools. And half of them didn't even know who I was. Half of them telling me you don't play. You don't. How do you know about basketball?
They probably called you. Did anybody call you a casual?
No, they call me all kind of stuff. I'm like, you stoops. All you got to do is go read my bio on the Twitter account. But again, it's these cheerleaders, man. They don't know nothing about no sports. Let me tell you something. College fans, I love their enthusiasm and all that. They don't know jack squat about no sports. All they know about is cheering for their favorite team. They don't know the nuances of it. They don't know jack squat. All they know is cheering for their team. And good for them that they do. But don't come to me trying to talk basketball, because I will educate you.
That's funny. That's funny. We want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you all joining us this morning. Colin, Devin Booker, Stan. Yes, this is live. We are here just for you. Eli, Amelia, Ogre, Aaron. We appreciate you all joining us this morning. And we do have a super chat. Tim from Psycho Blue. B-Ball Cthulhu is enjoying seeing all the people slandering Shams now having to walk back the comments as Jonah Jameson Reddick looks as inevitable as another disappointing season in Arizona sports. Casual. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like JJ Redick is the only candidate left for the Lakers.
I want him to get it.
Well, but like, you know, I don't think you're not a believer. I don't think.
Well, no, it's not that I'm not a believer. I think he definitely knows basketball. I think he's born as heck on the telecast. I do. I think he tries to teach too much. He's so caught in between not saying.
I mean, not everybody can talk about their Italian suits like you on the show, buddy.
Well, it's not even about that. Crack a joke every now and then, man. Like he and Doris Burke, man. I feel like sometimes I'm at a funeral.
Jesus.
Serious. Like, and they're both very good. See, that's the problem. Like people might say, I don't know. I think they're both very good. But I just think it's almost like they're heavy thinkers. And like with Mark Jackson and Van Gundy, they weren't heavy thinkers. They say anything. Yeah. And it worked. It worked, man. That combination was great. And the two people before them that was great, if you remember, it was Bill Walton and Steve Snapper Jones.
Yeah.
Like, you know, most NBA people, they're very educated on basketball. NBA fans are pretty much educated. They don't need to know the numbers. They got computers in front of them. They can look at the box score real time now. It used to be where you didn't have that. Now you can. Most people got two damn TVs. They can have running dialogue on another TV, and then they're watching the game, and they're seeing the stats. They're seeing what they're shooting. They don't need you to regurgitate to them all the time about the stats. They want to know the inside stuff. They want to get some jokes, some stories. It's back and forth, you know. And so, for me, I'm not a huge fan of it. Yeah. And I'm sure some people are not a fan of me on TV, and that's fine. I mean, it's his own. But me watching it, I just miss Mark and I miss Van Gundy more than anything. But the only reason I'm saying about JJ, and I happen to like JJ, I don't know if he likes me much. He and I have gone at it on Twitter because I've called him out on his disrespect for any basketball before the freaking 2000s. Because he has comments always consistently about, you know, the past game. And I don't understand how he would have a comment when he was in baby heaven, wasn't even born. And so, yeah, he and I have gone back and forth, and I've gotten on him. And I've encountered him a number of times, and he won't walk. He walks away from me, like, dude, come on, man, come on. If you got a problem with me, come on up to me. Let's talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna run from you. I don't. It's not personal, but no, I want him to get it. You know why? Because he's been very critical. He's very critical of the Lakers at one point in time, which is kind of funny. He's publicly, and you can find it on Twitter. He publicly said that he didn't think that was a great job to take. That's a couple of years ago. Oh yeah.
Ouch.
So I want to see how he does. I truly does. I don't. I think he will struggle because I think he's non-confrontational, but he's very aggressive if things aren't going his way.
Yeah.
We've seen it on First Take. We've seen it. And so that's where I think he might struggle somewhat, but he knows the game. He knows the game of basketball. I'm not going to take that from him. He knows it.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, listen, I don't know how he's going to do. Regarding the telecast, I think it's funny the different perspectives you get because, even in the podcast world, sometimes people are like, "Oh, you guys need to talk. You guys need to talk more basketball, or you guys need to." And it's not really about the basketball part. It's mostly about the analytical part because some people really, really like the breaking down of the analytical stuff, and then other people like it a little bit loose, a little bit, more entertainment centric, kind of like your TNT show with Barkley and Shaq, and so you're never going to be able to please everybody, and so you need a well balanced broadcast, right? And I think I would agree from time to time JJ and Doris will get into the weeds a little bit to where the casual fan won't be able to understand what's going on. They're just here to watch the game, and when they're hearing this stuff, it's not resonating. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know what the dunker spot is, or they don't know what a pin down is, and stuff like that, right? But we do, and we enjoy it to a certain degree, and so I get where you're saying. You got to try, and it's a delicate balance, and that being on a broadcast, of course. But you all don't need to balance your life out too bad this weekend. You can use OGs and have a nice little time of it. Go to ogsbrands.com. It's a fantastic edible. Get your RSOs, sativas, indicas, so on and so forth at OG's Brands, the best edible in the game. You can find the closest dispensary to you. Have fun with it. Remember, you must be over the age of 21 and you must enjoy it responsibly. And also, EJ, are you part of the inner circle?
What does that mean?
Are you part of the inner circle at Circle K? Well, if you're not, let me educate you there.
What does that mean,
Eddie? You should become part.
7-Eleven the other day, but
no 7-Elevens. Circle K here, only Circle K here on this lovely broadcast. Our newest sponsors of this show. So watch your mouth, EJ.
I just said I went to it only because I'm in Dallas. Okay?
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you.
I go to Circle K in Arizona. That's the only thing that's there.
There you go, course. Circle K, the best, one of the best convenience stores out there. Stop by any Circle K, become part of the Inner Circle. Download the Inner Circle app. It's fantastic. You get deals all the time. You get hooked up with free drinks, free food, buy one get ones, the whole 9 yards. And if you sign up initially, you get to save 25 cents per gallon on gas for the first 5 times, and then after that you get to save 3 cents a gallon. After you use it a couple times, then it'll bump up to 5 cents a gallon. So you get to save some money at every single time you go to the pump. EJ,
I'm gonna do it because I spent a lot of money in Circle K's over the years.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, Circle K is goated. Also, right now they got the frosters out there, 79 cents for everybody. But if you're part of the Inner Circle, you get them for 69 cents.
Nice.
There you go. See, there you go. All right. So become part of the Inner Circle today. Download the app. See conditions. They all apply. So check it out on their app. All right. Okay. We're gonna kind of truncate this show here a little bit. So real quick, everybody's been talking about it. EJ, I am so tired. I am so damn tired of the discourse around the WNBA and Clayton Clark. And how it's it's just been such a negative and toxic topic to talk about when it should be celebrated that this individual is in the W. She has brought more eyeballs to it, but she's not the only story. And the WNBA had already, started to grow. Their viewership numbers have been on the rise for the last couple of years. It's not like all of a sudden Caitlin Clark showed up and TV existed. But she has brought a significant amount of fans to the game. So we're not taking that away from her. I think Caitlin Clark is phenomenal. Caitlin Clark herself, to be fair, Caitlin Clark herself has even been like, guys, it's not that serious. Like, her not being on the Olympic team, she understood it. She got it. She's okay with it. She knows she's going to have plenty of other opportunities, but everybody else is trying to skew this into some agenda that just does not have to exist at all. It's not relevant. It doesn't need to. It's so off-putting. It's just so off-putting because this league is really good. There's a lot of great players in the league, and I know that there's components to this that I don't personally want to touch because I'm just tired of it.
Why?
It's exhausting. Because, man, I'm tired of talking about the perspective of people in this country that think that everything has to do because of race. And I don't think it's necessarily because of race, because you have other white players that are also on the team that are playing at an incredibly high level too. Like, I get Caitlin Clark would bring more viewership to the women's games in Paris. I get that. But the point is to put the best team together. And if you think that this is the best squad to put together, then you put that together. I don't get it. I don't get it. When Shaq got omitted for Christian Damn Laettner, were we all in an uproar about race?
No. There was people. But there was people that weren't happy about that.
Well, yeah, because Shaq was clearly better than Laettner.
Yeah,
I don't think you could say Caitlin Clark is undeniably better than this person or that person on this team. So
yeah, well, Saul, look, listen, this is 2024.
I know, man.
It is about race. It is
I'm so tired of it.
It is about race. And I don't look at it as a huge negative, this situation. Like some of the stuff that we might have to deal with come November, that's different. But it is. And I've said this before, and, some people probably don't like it, but look, I'm a history major, man. And look, if you didn't want me to understand history, then you shouldn't have freaking let me go to history then. Don't teach it. I mean, don't teach it then. Because at the University of Illinois, they taught history the right way. They truly did. And I learned a lot of things in history that I did not know when I was in high school. And, it's about race, but it's not racial, if that makes sense. As I told you, I gave you the analogy a few months ago in regards to hockey. I was a Blackhawk fan growing up, but I was cheering all white players. Stan Mikita, Bobby Hull, Esposito, Sanderson. Sanderson didn't have any teeth. I loved him, I was a Blackhawk fan. But man, when I go out on the street and I'm playing it, street hockey, who was I emulating? I was emulating somebody that I probably would never meet. Mm-hmm. And so did I long to see an African American play hockey? Yeah. Because then that would allow young African American kids to think that they can play hockey. Yeah. Same way with golf. Same way with tennis. And now what we're looking at, and even let's go back. I was watching the 30 on 30 last night, 2:00 in the morning. I just could not go to sleep because I just loved it. The Lakers Celtics. You remember that 30 for 30? And just the rivalry of the Lakers and the Celtics.
Oh, yeah.
And how they went all the way back to the 60s with the race riots and all of that. It's just such a great documentary, man. Mm-hmm. And just the maturation of Magic and Bird coming into the league and the divisiveness that those two were in the middle of. But it was about sport. And Larry Bird, even though would not embrace it like Caitlin, but he knew that it was a lot. He was a lot. He was a hero to a lot of whites that actually long to have a white in the NBA that can compete with the African Americans, and that's okay. Like I love Larry Bird, as you well know, and so at one point in time, the black players used to say that, man, Larry Bird played like a brother. Whites didn't like that because that was theirs. And I understood that. Like, you understand that. Like, majority of the fans at that point in time were whites. And, like, they would come to the game and they would love to see a white player that their kid can emulate.
Yeah.
So, because now it'll make them feel like they got a chance. And so that's just the reverse of how I was feeling when it came to hockey, when it came to golf. So it is about race. Caitlin Clark jumped on the scene. She's an unbelievable basketball player. She's throwing down threes like who? Steph Curry. And they're watching it and they're teaching their young ladies how to play. And they're like, oh, yeah, look at her. We got to go see her. We got to go see her, right? And those kids are like, yeah, I can be like her. And so I can understand why they jump, now they jump aggressively and say, oh, we're going to see her. We want her. We want her. We want her. And we live in the moment of the now, man. Like, that's the problem with this world in general. We're in the now. We want it now. And so people are fighting for her for the now. They oh yeah, and I think they're out of control. I think they're very impatient because she's going to be a tremendous player. I love watching her play. I push back on some WNBA players that say, well, she didn't make the team because, it's about going for the 8th gold medal. Look, listen, I've heard for years WNBA players complain about the finances. Okay? All right? I get it. Winning an Olympic gold medal, I never got the chance. I wasn't international competition. Matter of fact, I was on a team that traveled over in Europe the year the United States boycotted. Okay, and we played the Olympic teams over there, so I get it. But the bottom line is for WNBA players is you want to keep growing your sport, so you don't have to go over there in the off season and play in Europe and grow your thing. Okay, so from a marketing perspective, you should jump all over this young lady because she is bringing people to the table. And that's what marketing is all about. It might not be fair, okay, and all of that, but she can speed up the process. And that's what she's done. So I have no issue with it. And I push back on these people like, well, if she was on the team, then, she's not ready and she's not physical. Listen. You can put a 60-year-old female on that damn team and they still gonna win. They've been kicking butt. Okay, she gonna be wide open. If that's the case, you got all that talent on there. If she was on there, she'd be wide open. She can outshoot all of you all. Wide open.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear that she would have hurt the team. Yeah, well, she had taken the place of somebody. That's not fair. I agree. But I understand why people are going crazy about her. And I think we have to hold back on that. Like we would go crazy over Michael Jordan. Like we would go crazy over Magic. Like we would go crazy over LeBron. Like, it's not many white Americans that's dominating the game of basketball. Yeah. And they are impatient because they feel like they have their savior and they're a little bit out of control. And I think they'll balance down. But I just kind of laugh at the whole thing, man, because I don't have an issue with it. The young lady can play. And it's unfortunate she's in the middle of this. But she was born at a time where everything is polarized now. Yeah. And I kind of feel for her. I do. I do too. I feel sorry for her.
I do too. I feel like she's stuck in a position that, it can be unfair. It can be I mean, listen, man, like the microscope is so intense on her right now that, any little small thing
Yeah.
can be blown way out of proportion. And then people are also using, and this is what I don't like, and this is kind of what I was referring to. I do not like that people are using her and what she represents in the WNBA and every little opportunity they can get to manifest it into a different agenda to push their own narratives about what's going on in this country. And I'm not here for it, man. I'm just not here for it. I don't really particularly like it in sports. I know it is part of what happens on, not just with her. We've had so many other instances, and some of these things we have to talk about. I totally get it. But man, I feel like this is something that has just been blown way out of proportion. And then obviously politically people are using it to try and, push their own agendas. And that's what I'm like, man, that's not fair to her, because now you're trying to make her the face of something that she might not want to be the face
and she's
of
not political. Yeah,
and
right.
She's not political.
She's too young. She's too young for it. She's not, she just wants to play basketball. And to put her in the middle of this is not fair, because she's just playing a sport. But she's maturing fast. Like, she's gonna have to, because this is not gonna go away. And it's unfortunate. But again, she's gotta mature enough and be able to learn to handle it, because people are looking at her. That she's powerful when her team stinks, right? She's had some bad games.
Yeah.
And people don't care. It's almost going, I'm not going to name a singer, that's not fair, but it's almost like going to see a singer and they in there and they screaming and going crazy, and she can't sing worth nothing. And there's some singers out there. Don't let me name them. Don't push me to the brink.
I'm not going to.
Okay?
We don't want that smoke.
Can't sing. Can't sing what they love. Like, singing somebody else's song, don't even have ability to write songs. And they got 80,000 people in the stadium and they screaming, and she stinks.
Oh, man. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know who you're talking about.
I'm not even saying anybody in particular, or he stinks. I'm not even saying any name particular, but come on now. Everybody that, if they're in the music, you can name somebody that wasn't that good, but was very popular. Right? Yeah. So it's just all about who they fall for. And that's the great thing about life, is that from a marketing standpoint, like, we've had people that we have some of these influencers, man. Like, y'all be on Instagram and I'm nosy in that. And you got some people that's got 1 million followers. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, how did they get 1 million followers? It's just certain people are going to be attracted to you. Right? No matter how like, some people might not like a man with a beard, but there's some people that do.
Absolutely true.
So, I mean, it's just life, So Caitlin, she's got to understand that for whatever reason, she's the one. And you're right. There's some very good white female basketball players, but she is the one.
Yeah.
And she's not going to be able to shake it.
Yeah. Cycle Blue with another super chat, $4.99. By the way, EJ, that Ghost Arcade I was talking about is in Brookfield, largest arcade in the world, and it was where Midway would test new Mortal Kombats in the 90s.
Nice.
That's cool. All right, before we wrap the show up, last week we didn't have an opportunity to do the show because we had some technical difficulties, but my man EJ was at Cronkite ASU for Martin Luther King remembrance speech, and Magic Johnson was there. And Magic, courtesy of Dwayne Rankin, shared this little story about you.
He called a timeout, sort of cussed me out. You can't make them plays. And now I'm so hot, I'm so mad. So my friend Eddie, he calmed me down. Just go out there and play your game, man. Don't listen to him. So for the next 3 minutes, I put on a show. that he would never forget. Remember that, Eddie?
Exactly.
I went and I had to show this man what time it was. And Eddie, remember the timeout? He's like, well, I guess you did.
Yeah.
One of the greatest shooters that's ever played in the game of NBA. And his beautiful wife, I just love. They are just salt of the earth. They're good people, and Eddie and I remain good friends. When he called me, I only do certain dudes' shows. As Eddie called, I do the show. I got a lot of friends mad at me because I don't do their show, but I do Eddie's show. But through sports, sometimes you have lifelong friends who you admire and respect. And Eddie is one of those guys.
That's Magic has always been that dude. He's always been able to, have a great way of, presenting himself to people and speaking to people and making people feel special. I just thought that was awesome. The fact that, he obviously thinks the world of you. You guys have a great relationship. But more than that, like, it wasn't just about ball. It was about who you are and how your guys' relationship is and the growth that it's had over the course of the last, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
That's just amazing, man. It really is. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's we met in high school, and it was just I knew we were at the Parade All-American game in DC, and it was a bunch of great players there: Albert King, Wayne McCoy, Darnell Valentine. You're talking about like some of the top players in the country, and this dude just stood out, man. I was just like, this dude he's special, and he and I hit it off, and then we left the Washington area Parade All-American game, and we immediately flew to Germany. About 6 of us was on that team, and, we stayed over there for 3 weeks, and we played in the Albert Schweitzer games, and Magic was just special in that, man. That's when I really knew how good he was. And that's when he started to recruit me because he knew I could shoot. And so we became friends. And he tried to convince me, man. He begged me to come there and Michigan State. And so I just wanted to blaze my own trail.
Man, you guys would have had it. You, Kelso, and Magic.
Let me tell you something. If I knew what I do now, I would have. Come on. That was the dumbest move I ever made. Not really. I met my wife in college, but I told her, I said, you know what? I would have came to Illinois, saw you in the stands, and pulled you anyway. So, yeah. So, yeah, it was. He and I talk about that all the time, and at the times of my NBA career, I was close to going to the Lakers as well in a trade or as a restricted free agent. I thought I was going to be able to get there, and I didn't. But yeah, we've always been friends. I've been to his house a few times. We sit down and play cards. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things that it hasn't been ultra consistent because he's so busy. But yeah. I consider him a tremendous friend, love him to death. I told my wife, because I was sitting in the back, and I said, it was about 500-600 people there, and I said, trust me, he's going to see me back here. And she's like, no, he's not. No, he's not. There's no way he's going to see you back here. I said, yeah, he is. Because I said he's nosy. And 30 minutes, 40 minutes into it, boom, I don't know where he says, and I just look at her, and she just was bewildered. But I was like, no, that's him.
Yeah.
And it was a great speech. It truly was.
So one thing you might not know about me, Eddie, is when I was growing up, I was not a Lakers fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I did want to be like Magic Johnson. Like I loved everything about his game. I wish I was 6'9" and I could just handle the ball like him. And I would try to emulate the no look passes, and so much so that I did, and I wore the number 32 in high school, and I actually have the number 32.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, that's how much
I feel bad that I didn't tell you he was in town.
Yeah, I felt bad too. Trust me, I felt bad too. I got to meet him once a couple years ago at the Pac-12 tournament. This is the year DeAndre Ayton was playing at the U of A, and I remember I saw him and I was just like, this is like, the only other person in the world that if I met I would be starstruck would be Michael Jordan. Because I've never met him. So I ran to the back. I took my opportunity. I shot my shot. I was just like, Magic, real quick. And I asked him about DeAndre Ayton. And the first thing he says is this off the record? I said, yes. Because at the time, remember, he was getting a little bit of trouble, hot water, because he was talking about other players.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, this is off the record. He was just like, oh, man, he's fantastic. He just went on and on about DA. Said he would love to find a way to get him to the Lakers, but it's probably never going to happen. All this other stuff. And then he was just super nice, and he was like, all right, man, well, good luck to you, man. And then he took off, and that was my small little opportunity to meet Magic Johnson. And so just one of the most rare dudes in the world in terms of charisma, personality, just one of the nicest people I've met in person. They say never meet your heroes. That was a pretty cool moment.
I was in Utah, man. I was in Utah. We were getting ready to play the Jazz when the news came out about him and HIV, and I remember falling back on the bed and just bawling, because at that time
you thought it was a death sentence. Yeah,
and I just remember, man, I was just bawling. I couldn't stop. I mean, I went to the game bawling. Like, I just, tried to get a hold of him, but obviously he wasn't trying to talk to anybody. And it was just like, I was just like, man, really? And here we are all these years later.
Man.
And he looks healthy as I don't know what. What a great example for all the people that have suffered that disease and learned how to fight and learned how to believe and push forward. And all the things that Magic does for that community in regards to raising awareness and raising money is just tremendous. And I was in his house, I think, maybe a month later. It was at the end of the season, and just playing cards and just laughing and joking, and that made me feel really good. But to see him now and what he's done, I mean, he's basically a multi-billionaire, and just the inner city stuff that he does, where he's raising awareness, as I said, but he's giving people business opportunities as well with his companies in the inner city neighborhoods. It's just simply amazing, man. And so, to hear him speak the other night about Martin Luther King, who came to Arizona 60 years ago and spoke, and a lot of people don't realize he did. For him to have to give a speech about that and about his journey was really good.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, one of a kind for sure. So we leave this show on a happy note. We appreciate you all for joining us this week on what's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
On another episode of Outside Shots. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Psycho Blue, Charles. We appreciate everybody joining us this morning. And Amelia, thank you so much. I hope you all have a great day. Eddie, enjoy Dallas. Any barbecue in your sight?
Man, look, I think I Instagrammed it out, man. I ate at this restaurant across the street from here, man. That food was so damn good. I ate 2 times in a row. I got to take a break. But no barbecue, man. EJ trying to get back in shape, man.
The Pecan Lodge, man. It'll never do you wrong. It's a fantastic spot down there in Dallas. Check it out if you get an opportunity.
All right.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Until next time. Peace.